right, Anna. So here's part two. This reading is has a few more extra cards than what normally come in. So we're going to talk about it. All right. So it does feel like for your near future, actually 3 cards popped up instead of 1 for this. So it might feel like you have some haters or discouraging people. Kind of, I don't know if they're completely jealous, but they're definitely trying to hinder you in some way. Come up, it's they're trying to mess with you. I really want, when this happens, for you to remember, and this is super important, that you just hold your ground. What they're saying to you about you, thinking about you, saying to each other, gossiping, whatever's going on with the situation, at the end of the day, they don't matter. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do, what your intentions are. Your focus on yourself and your children is what really, really matters. So, again, when this comes up, I just want you to dismiss them as best as you can. It's going to take some courage and it's going to take some strength, but I really want you to stay stubborn, because they don't matter. It does feel like you're going to be a little still financially unstable, and nobody wants to hear that. It does feel like for the next couple of months, whatever this is that you're rebounding from still isn't going to completely have resolved itself financially. I don't know, if you recently lost a job or changed jobs, or someone in your life who was supporting you stopped, or, if you, had to lose a place that you were living, or what initially triggered this to happen for you. But it doesn't feel like things are going to be stable as far as money goes for a few more months, but hang in there. I'll tell you why in a little bit. So yeah, you're going to be bouncing back from this. And it's definitely this sense that, something that you were dependent on was cleared away. You're starting on this clean slate. And when we're starting from square one with something, it does take time to rebuild. And it doesn't always have to be looked at as a bad thing, because sometimes that reset is really, really needed for us. This is, going to kind of open up the doors and the avenues for you to get to somewhere else that you wanted to be at more than life anyway. So try to think of it that way. I'm not get so discouraged and depressed about it. I feel like you're definitely going to have what you need to make ends meet, of course. But you're just not going to be financially in the place where you'd like to be ideally. But just, stay focused on basics and keep planning towards these goals, because you're going to get somewhere. You just have to stay focused and motivated with it. And consciously, I can see that you're discouraged, and you're discouraged, and you're aware that a situation that you wanted and were comfortable and did not turn out the way that you expected it to be, and you are feeling disappointed, and anybody would in that. It's important that you find forgiveness in yourself and anybody else that's attached to this situation. Finding that forgiveness, that's going to help release some of those feelings of, depression and despair and discouragement that you're having. That you're frustrated. And more so with yourself, I guess, than with anybody else, because, that you did and are continuing to do the best that you could under the circumstances that you were handed. So be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. Subconsciously, I feel like, you might be kind of unaware of the fact that sometimes you commit to things that you cannot follow through with. Again, your intentions are good, but sometimes you say things that you kind of step back and regret later. I want you to remember that you have a lot of energy behind you. You really do. but you aren't always using it as effectively as you could be. And this brings me, into our advice card, which is more or less talking about, the possibilities of choices that you have around you right now. They seem kind of like equally good and equally bad. And sometimes that makes it a little harder to decide on things when things are kind of, have the same pros and cons to them. So moving forward, I would kind of try to balance what your head is thinking and your heart is feeling and your intuition is telling you, and pick what feels like it aligns with your highest goal for yourself. What is this? How is this going to baby step you into what you're really wanting? Life's decisions, they're just always difficult. They're not meant to be easy. If they were, we wouldn't learn from them. So, things rarely come with clear-cut answers, and that's why we have to utilize all our tools, and again, that's using your smarts and using your feeling and your intuition and spirit, and reaching in to when you're deciding on these types of things. As far as the people in your life go, I feel like, for me, that your biggest inspiration is going to come out of your love for your children and your relationship with your children. And the same way, you're able to stay in control and maintain that happy, everything's okay image for them, and stay yet fearlessly protective of them and what's in their best interest, and making sure that happens. I feel like you are learning to do the same for yourself. And they're the biggest influence in that. So, they're really going to keep you driven through all of this. And your fears, again, going back to, you don't like to be talked about. Nobody likes to be talked about or be judged or be criticized for decisions that we're making. And so your fear is having people view you as having this fall from grace. You don't want people to just see you as this, oh, look what's happened to her, or blah, 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 blah. You fear that. You don't want that, and nobody would. So with your hope, though, your hope is definitely to reach the significant goal that people are going to praise and be like, look how she pulled herself up from the bootstraps and she was able to accomplish this, So those are kind of the balance of your hopes and fears, and they really go hand in hand with each other. All right, so for your outcomes, and again, I pulled a bunch of cards on this to take a look and kind of have a good sense of what's going on from about 6 months to the next year for you. I do feel like you're going to wake up one day and suddenly it's just gonna all snap and click into place, and you are suddenly going to have this sense of what to do. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is the plan. This is what I'm doing. I'm sticking to it. And this time I'm just doing it, period. I'm just going to do these things. So if you don't already work in healthcare, I want you to think about that. I really do feel like you're going to take some steps entering the field of healthcare on some level, because when I'm seeing you in my mind's eye, I keep seeing you in scrubs and a scrub jacket. So if you already work in healthcare, I feel like you're going to take this into a new sector, a new branch of healthcare. As far as maybe getting an advanced degree, or just, if you're working in a hospital, working in the nursing home instead, or some kind of switch on that level. So again, if you are not working in healthcare, you are probably going to be looking into some kind of training or college even, to begin that. I also feel like in this next year, you're going to really be taking an interest in your own psychic abilities, and kind of developing those a little bit, and spending some time and exploring with what your relationship with that is and your relationship with spirit is. there is going to be something unexpected that pops up again, but not in the bad way of what's happened in your recent past. I do feel like there is a baby coming into the family. This is either the family or this is a close girlfriend of yours, but there's a new baby coming in. I also feel like you may have an opportunity to move into somewhere that's a slight upgrade from where you're at now, or a neighborhood where you wanted to be at more closer to a school or a job. I don't know, because I feel like you're kind of locked into where you are right now. I'm not exactly sure where this is, but what I'm seeing is a white house, it's like a smaller home in this neighborhood. So I feel like you may have an opportunity to take that if you should decide to. Keep an eye out for that. And also, again, I keep going back to the seeing you in scrubs and the starting of the school, which would definitely line you up with better finances. I do feel like you're going to qualify for some scholarships in that regard. So I would look into that. I would start applying if that interests you, if that is your calling. And I feel like that's all going to happen pretty quickly. It's going to be a little stressful at first for you, but I do feel like financially that is going to lead you to where you want to be at. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon.